So today we're going to look at two heavyweights in the industry. We're going to look at IG versus CMC. They're two massive brokers here in the UK for CFD trading and spread betting. We're going to look at the advantages, the disadvantages, which one's easier to use, which one has more things to trade, and we're going to tell you which one may be better for you based on your circumstances. So let's get into it. So if you haven't heard of IG is one of those brokers that is well established. They were established in the 1970s. They've been going for a long time, so you're not going to have any issues there. They're also regulated by the FCA, as is CMC, so they're both two heavyweight FCA regulated brokers here within the UK, and you might hear them in a conversation alongside things like interactive brokers. So interactive brokers, IG and CMC are really three massive brokers here within the UK, so you're not going to face any issues as it comes to regulation or issues when it comes to liquidity. They're both massive brokers with well-established relationships lasting a long time. In future, you're generally not going to experience the same issues as you would with a unregulated or unlicensed broker. They're both under the very careful scrutiny of the FCA, so the Financial Conduct Authority, and they both have very strict and tight regulations both within the UK and also in international markets. So IG's platform experience varies. Some people have had great experiences with it, others have had less good experiences with it. Personally, I found it relatively easy to use, but there was a bit of a learning curve. If you're coming from other brokers, so if you're coming from a Pepperstone or you're coming from Advantage or an Active Trades, this is not too dissimilar. You won't find it too difficult, but getting used to the kind of web trader experience does take beginner traders a bit of time. Comparing that to CMC is extremely difficult to use. It's perhaps one of the most cluttered UIs that I've personally experienced. But when I first started trading with CMC, so it kind of gave me off the bat a little bit of an understanding of how complicated user experiences could be. But CMC is great for those more experienced traders, those people who trade thematically. Thematic trading is a big thing with CMC. They're actually an award-winning broker and have an award-winning platform. That's purely down to thematic trading. So if you're used to something like Trading 212, where you have different themes and buckets that you can trade, that's very similar to CMC. Personally, I prefer IG because you can kind of scan the different indices, scan the stocks, and have a look and see what you want to trade day by day. I'm not really a thematic based trader, but if you are and you're trading something like energy, then you can get all of the energy stocks nicely bucketed within CMC. But it is a slightly more convoluted and complicated platform if you're just getting started trading, like I was when I first started opening a CMC account. You're going to notice that it does take a bit of getting used to. Both of them take a bit of getting used to. But IG is more compatible with other platforms. So if you've traded on Pepperstone, if you traded on Vantage or Active Trades or any other broker really, you're going to find IG much simpler and much easier to get started. Ultimately, I would recommend IG for their broker experience. So they're definitely the better platform there. So which one wins on spreads and fees? Well, when it comes to spreads, they're roughly equal again. They offer 0.1, 0.2 in terms of their spreads. So generally very tight. However, there is a slight difference between the holding fees or the overnight fees and the general inactivity fees. So CMC will charge you an inactivity fee. IG will not charge you an inactivity fee. IG used to charge a 24-month inactivity fee. I think they charged £24 for 24 months. That meant £1 a month effectively, but you were charged after that 24-month period. Now they're not doing that, but CMC does have a 12-month inactivity fee at £12, so you'll notice a little bit of a difference. It's not based on volumes, it's not based on anything like that. It's just if you do not use that account, there will be a subsequent charge there. So IG's overnight fee came to 1.5% and CMC's fee came to 0.027%. So very low fees in general. IG does lose in this battle though, just because of that overnight fee, and their general admin fee is higher for Forex. But generally, if you're looking at inactivity fees, which you probably wouldn't be looking at because you're an active trader, I assume, then you're going to be looking at IG for the no inactivity fee at the end of the term, whereas CMC will charge you £12 if you're inactive. When it comes to instruments, there's a slight difference between the two. IG claims they have 17,000 instruments to trade. CMC claims 12,000 instruments to trade, but generally they're quite similar in terms of you're not going to be trading every single instrument available. You're generally going to be trading the majors, or you're going to be trading stocks or indices. But if you're looking for that depth and breadth and that variety, then IG does win purely on their numbers. But CMC, you're not going to be short of things to trade on CMC. When it comes to integrations, there are a few key things to bear in mind here. So CMC, generally you're not going to use it as a plug and play broker, meaning you're not going to use it and plug it into a TradingView or a MT4, MT5. You can do that, but generally most people will use the CMC platform just because it's thematic and that's the way they like it, and they'll be stuck and wedded to that platform. IG, by contrast, plugs into TradingView very easily. You can consider it like a Pepperstone upgrade in a way. IG is like a big brother to a Pepperstone. You plug it into TradingView. You can also plug it into MT4, MT5. They also offer, as I mentioned, the web trader experience, and they also offer ProReal Trader and they offer L2 Dealer. They have a multitude of different platforms depending on what level of experience you are. CMC, if you're kind of an average retail trader, they have their main platform, and generally you're not going to be leaving that platform. So in this battle, I would say that IG wins as it comes to integrations. They have a great range of integrations for beginner traders. They have extremely good platforms for more advanced traders. So IG is generally a more well-rounded broker when it comes to their platform integrations. And lastly, we'll talk about education. The education offerings for both platforms are relatively solid. I would say that IG invests a bit more into their education. They have beginner articles, intermediate articles, and advanced articles, as well as market news that comes in from Reuters and other well-established publications. CMC does the same. And in fact, on CMC's platform, they have a sidebar with the news, as does IG. They're relatively equal when it comes to the news and news-based trading. I would say that generally I wouldn't have a preference between the two. I'd say IG maybe slightly pips it, but generally they're both really, really good at news-based trading and information that comes from a wide variety of different sources that you can trade on. IG may have a few more webinars and interactive, engaging experiences in that front, but generally it's roughly equal. So in summary, I would say that for beginner traders, you're probably best suited with IG if you're a more beginner intermediate level trader. If you're a more advanced trader and have been around the block and tried everything and just simply nothing will stick, then perhaps you should go for a CMC. If you're trading more advanced, different kind of options and futures, CMC makes that very clear as well, so you may want to look at them. If you're looking at kind of stock-based or indice-based or forex-based trading and are kind of playing around, looking at different stocks to trade, then I would choose IG. Also, if you're looking for a broker that just plugs into different platforms, so if you're an MT4, MT5 or a TradingView trader, then choose IG. If you're someone who doesn't mind kind of picking up and learning new platforms, then CMC could be the best bet here. You just log in and you just trade straight from their platform and you trade thematically, then CMC would be a great option. If you're looking for a full in-depth review and breakdown of both of these brokers, then we have it available at tradingbrokers.co.uk, where we break down in detail both brokers and we compare them side by side, and you can find the real broker for you. Some of the stuff that I've mentioned in this video appears there, but you also get more information, more news, latest insights, as well as our top brokers based on the ever-changing broker landscape.